Hi everyone, I'm Sandie La Nae. Welcome to Psychic Creations. We have an interesting show for you today. My guest speaker happens to be me. Yeah. I'm going to be speaking about a lecture that I gave many years ago to a Paracon. On March of 2012, the paranormal team I am a member of, Finville Investigators, along with Genoa Historic Ghost Tours, presented a paranormal conference in Genoa, Nevada. Being I was giving a speech, I decided to talk about being a psychic on a ghost hunting team. Following is my speech to the Paracon guests about who I am, what my abilities are, and how those abilities are an advantage to our paranormal investigations. My speech today is titled Psychics in Ghost Hunting. Sadly, this topic has become more controversial in recent years, so I would like to discuss this with you today. I would also like to take this opportunity to dispel some myths about psychics and share my role as a psychic in a ghost hunting team. Many paranormal investigative teams don't feel the need to have a psychic with them. Some can't even stand a person who is a psychic for that matter. There are some researchers who believe that technological or scientific equipment is the only method that gives proof of the existence of ghosts. Many of today's researchers, too, are leaning heavily toward an attempt to attain repeatable results. This type of research, in part, is what is known as the scientific method. But unfortunately, for all the parties involved in paranormal research, repeatable results are not currently attainable because the circumstances involved do not usually repeat themselves. For example, does the same cloud pass over your home in the same shape over and over and over? On another point, it has been stated to me, for example, that psychics are unreliable and their claims are unsubstantiated. It should not be said that psychics are allowed to be fallible, but the circumstances of our abilities and interactions have not yet been fully recognized and understood either. Most of those that are interested in paranormal do agree that ghosts are subtle energies. It is these subtle energies that can often be detected by a psychic first. Because of the sensitivity and awareness, many pioneering paranormal researchers, long before ghost hunting became vogue, used psychics and were adamant in making sure psychics were with them on every investigation. But despite this habit, perhaps one of the reasons for the debate in question has something to do with the term ghost hunting. I believe that this term has taken on a new meaning for many of today's researchers. Ghost hunting used to mean seeking out ethereal manifestations and spirit encounters. In today's world, ghost hunting seems to have become more of a game where whoever has the most expensive gadgets and devices is the better hunter. But what do these tools aim to prove? If the devices are just a way to uncover conclusive evidence of ghosts or spirits, then psychic ability is just as helpful, but not in the same way. How are psychics helpful? Before meters start buzzing and cameras capture anomalies, it could be very helpful to take the guesswork out of finding a ghost by using a psychic or sensitive who can see or feel the subtle energies first. Perhaps at the heart of the controversy about psychics in ghost hunting is that psychic ability is just as unknown as the subject ghost hunters are trying to study. So, what is a psychic? In many dictionaries, a psychic is described as having extrasensory perceptions, and that is it. But what is not explained is how extrasensory perceptions are perceived and received by a psychic. I would like to explain that these perceptions are ways to interact and be aware of your environment that are outside the standard 5 senses. These senses may include the ability to see the future, sense emotions, and perceive non-physical energies or discorporate beings. And to continue, the methods of those perceptions for a psychic's abilities can be vast. For example, some psychics receive awareness through a form of internal visions, through dreams, hearing music, seeing words or images or icons, have song lyrics or dialogue from TV shows and movies come into mind in regards to a particular situation. But having any psychic gift has its share of frustrations. For example, awareness, information, and visions may only come at certain times. They can be received fully or in bits and pieces of a particular incident. At times, pertinent information is never available, no matter how hard you open yourself up to knowing the circumstances. This is frustrating because, after all, we are psychic. So most assume that if we take on the mantle of being psychic, that we are supposed to know anything and everything the universe has to offer, like some kind of walking, talking, cosmic Google search engine. But people are still afraid of us. Fear is a huge public factor. Psychics scare people. In my many years of being a psychic, I can't even begin to tell you how many people became fearful upon the discovery of my gift. The two most common reasons for this fear tend to be 1, death, and 2, mind reading. Even if I knew when you were going to die, I wouldn't tell you. That is not my right to instill dread into your life. And even if you didn't believe, certainly this information would upset and disturb you. In my opinion, a psychic who will tell someone they are going to die is completely unethical and unprofessional. Now, reading your mind is a big concern and deals with what I call a psychic paradox, which is a psychic is expected to know things that are going on, yet somehow are not supposed to know anything about the querent because people are fearful their secrets will be revealed. If I could read your mind, I would only hear a cacophony of thoughts, as the mind is a constant hubbub of activity. As far as mind reading goes, this type of gift is better left in science fiction novels, although mothers do a darn good job at mind reading. Seriously though, these fears can be quite frustrating for a psychic, especially for a practicing psychic like myself. All in all, psychics are just people like artists to zookeepers or those who are tall or short. Psychics are people who happen to have an extrasensory gift. Psychic means exactly that. Psychic. Now that you know a little more about psychics and psychic ability, how does that relate to ghost hunting? I mentioned earlier that psychics can be just as useful as technological devices for proving the existence of ghosts, but not in the same way. For instance, a psychic, while on a ghost hunt, can more directly engage the detected subtle energies than a static, non-interacting device. Assuming, as many do, ghosts are the remaining or full essences of once humans, psychic contact encourages the entities to be more responsive. Often this gives extra time so that the devices may receive or record more data. Also, a psychic could sense or perceive environmental information, which may, in the future, help to prove the existence of ghosts. For example, upon walking into a room, a psychic may detect the energies of violence, misery, happiness, sadness, etc., upon which later research could prove to be the emotional foundation or reasons for a haunting. In many cases, a psychic can direct attention to a hot spot for hard data to then be accumulated, which happens to be one of my most common roles as a psychic in a ghost hunting team. I am a psychic bird dog. I spot, I flush out, and although I don't bark, I do then direct my electronic devices to the area of activity. Science searches for the how of a ghost's presence. How do they interact with electronic media? How is a ghost able to manifest? My gifts let me see, hear, and communicate with those who have crossed over. I can attempt to garner, through psychic connections, the why of a ghost's presence. Why are they here? Why do they stay here? My ability helps to discover the emotional reasons why a spirit remains. For example, on many occasions, I've discovered the reason to be due to loneliness or because they want to make sure that their families are doing well, and even the old favorite, they have unfinished business. On occasion, I have also been involved in conjunction with pure scientific research for cross-referencing my psychic findings to see how they correlate with scientific data. For example, first I conduct an independent examination of a site, like a haunted dwelling. Then a research team performs their own individual examination. Afterward, we get together and cross-reference the phenomena from our findings. I like this kind of interaction, for it helps both parties gain more information about the phenomena present during an investigation. As a psychic in a group of psychics and sensitives, such as our ghost hunting group, Thinville Investigators, we use our gifts in conjunction to tune in and pinpoint paranormal phenomena on many levels. Though our gifts do overlap, they aren't exactly the same as each other's, which gives our team members the benefit of receiving psychic awareness along different facets of any perceived phenomena, such as environmental impressions, spirit communications, emotional resonances, and more. As an aside, we Thinville Investigators were born on November 19th, 2005, and what a journey we've had. We Thinvillers are a very unique team because we all have psychic abilities or are very sensitive in many ways. We have team members who are what we term physical sensitives. That means they immediately get aching arms or other limbs, or immediately get headaches or feel nauseous when the spirits are near. We have members who are what we term environmental sensitives, which means they sense or they feel energies right off the bat in any room or area that we go into. Also, we have members who are what we term audio sensitives, which means they hear a spirit before some of us can sense it or see it. happen to be what is called a clairsentient, as I can see, hear, touch, smell, taste, and sense the spirits. I also have the ability where I'm able to see the deceased and communicate with them. That is fun. We Veilers do use electronics such as recorders and cameras and meters and spirit boxes, as these devices help us with our evidence and documentation. But we really do rely on our abilities first and foremost. I have to admit, our gifts are a very nice edge when it comes to investigations. I also want to add that we are low-tech when it comes to communicating with spirits. We all use dowsing rods and pendulums and simple items such as cotton balls, toy cars, beads, yarn strands, playing cards, miniature wind chimes, and other small items to communicate with the spirits. Many times, in answer to our questions, a pencil or a ball will roll away or to us. Ghosts love to move things in answering our questions or to capture our attention. So we set about easily movable objects for them to do so. And that is basically what Thin Veil Investigators is all about. Communications with the spirits. We investigate to communicate. We go beyond ghost hunting, past the thin veil, to discover who is in the building and try to find out the reason for them hanging out. And have we ever met up with awesome spirits, all thanks to our psychic abilities and sensitivities. Being a psychic and a ghost hunter is a lot of fun. Now, in conclusion, I have been a believer that hard science will be an integral part of proving the existence of ghosts. I also think that because psychics achieve a more direct contact with spirits and non-physical energies, psychics will play a major role in the process of discovery and proof. I know that between the two, psychics and science, we can achieve this common goal. Because of this, I would like to say that psychic ability can be an enhancement in a ghost hunting team member, but should not be perceived as a requirement or detriment. It is the individuals themselves that determines how useful they would be as a ghost hunter. Thank you for watching this show. If you would like to be a guest on Psychic Creations, you can contact me at my website, which is www.sandiepsychicstones.com, or at my email address, which is admin@sandiepsychicstones.com. Again, thank you so much for watching Psychic Creations, and we'll see you next show.